For more on this, Michael Purcell joins me now live from Washington, D.C. He's a professor at the George Washington University. Professor, good to have you here with us on TRT World. Now, given the discernible escalation in tensions between Russia and Ukraine recently, especially when compared to the relative calm observed just 2 months ago or so, what factors do you believe are driving these current developments, with Russia reportedly targeting civilian settlements in eastern Ukraine, the grain deal falling out, whispers of a potential meeting between Putin and Kim Jong-un, and Secretary Blinken's recent visit to Kiev to announce further aid? What are the underlying causes of these events?
I see this as being a continuous trend from a period of high intensity conflict, the need for both sides to restock, train, recruit, equip, and position forces. So unfortunately, I think any perceived break in the conflict was simply due to both Russia and Ukraine positioning themselves to resume offensive operations at the moment. In the case of Ukraine, and I think the Russians have put significant resources into an effort to demonstrate that they're not going to step away from the conflict.
So with how things look at this point, would it be fair to say that it's going to be a tough winter for both Russia and Ukraine?
There's certainly no other way to think about it. I think in recent days, there's been criticism, anonymous mostly, but notable in that it was carried in major media outlets from U.S. officials stating that potentially Ukraine was not pursuing their counteroffensive aggressively enough. I think Secretary Blinken's visit to Kiev was placed to sort of strategically, if you will, to demonstrate continuing support and an understanding of the enormity of the task before the Ukrainians. I'm a retired military officer. I've served alongside Ukrainians, worked with Russians as well. These are competent military forces. They know how to prepare deliberate defenses. And anybody who's grasps what's going on there understands that the human cost of this type of high intensity conventional conflict is a bit staggering and not something, fortunately, that we're used to seeing in Europe.
Right, and let me just pick up on one part that you mentioned about Secretary Blinken being in Ukraine right now, and his primary goal there is to announce further aid to Ukraine. Now, over the past 1 year and a half, basically since the war between Russia and Ukraine began, the U.S. has been at the forefront in providing military assistance to Ukraine. I wonder, for how much longer can the U.S. afford to do so?
It's an excellent question, and I would rephrase it in this way. How much longer can the Biden administration withstand any potential domestic political pressure that is not interested in continuing this level of support? So how good will President Biden and his administration be at continuing to mobilize American public opinion, domestic opinion, to sustain the expenses? America can certainly afford to spend this money for a partner that we've cooperated with and helped train alongside other NATO allies for over 2 decades. The question really is, do you have the will? Does the American population have the will to continue this? And that's, I think, why the Secretary is so visibly visiting President Zelensky today.
All right, fascinating insights into the topic. Professor Michael Purcell, thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.
Thank you.